It's Kelsey Hart inside of our Plumline Services KYGO Performance Studio. Thank you for taking a little time for us this morning. So first of all, congratulations on the success of that song. Yeah. It's the first big one for you out of the gate. You've had a lot of success in all the worlds, like streaming, and I don't even know who they are, but I hear that you were #1 on something called Sirius XM.
Yeah.
And so congratulations on all that, first of all.
Thank you.
Is it kind of a pinch me moment still? Did you ever expect that one to be the one that did it?
Dude, it really is. You know, it's a song that I wrote 3 years ago, and it was, really wasn't on the forefront of, coming out. We're writing songs every day, and it wasn't one that, I just said, this is going to be the one. And when my wife and I got engaged, she came to me and she said, hey, I've been looking through first dance songs, and she said, I keep going back to that song that you wrote like 3 years ago. So she's the one that brought it back up and said, hey, I think this would be cool. So we did. We used it for our first dance and just danced to like the rough demo of the song, that we cut in the room that day. And we ended up, I posted the video just for our first dance, not really trying to push the song, just showing our dance off. And it started hitting pretty hard and online, and people was asking like if they could get the song for their first dance. And so we quickly decided that it, was going to cut it and stuff. So.
Well,
it's kind of how it came about.
Yeah, it's blown up on you, man. It's pretty cool. So this could get awkward. Yeah. Did you actually write it about your wife, or was it just like written?
Well, so my wife and I just started dating.
Okay.
So it was definitely inspired by her, but at the time it wasn't like, we were 3 years away from getting married. So it was more of a love song. I didn't think of it necessarily as a wedding song.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Talk to me about who Kelsey Hart is. I got to be honest with you. Yeah. We're honest and transparent in this thing. Yeah. When these guys came to us originally, they said, we've got this new artist named Kelsey Hart. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I wonder if she's pretty. Do you get like Instagram messages from people or stuff like that think?
Dude, so I still, like to this day, Ubers, when they pick me up somewhere, they'll roll down the window and they'll go, Kelsey? I'm like, yes, that's me. That's me. So that definitely happens. But no, man, I'm from Western Kentucky. Grew up in a small town. Music, I always sang growing up, but it wasn't like I never, in my mind, thought I was going to be a country singer. It was, singing, for fun and singing in church, and Mom would put me in like talent shows and, that kind of thing. And I always enjoyed it. But right out of high school, went to barber school and barbered in my hometown for 10 years. And so that's kind of like, and I was happy doing that. I loved cutting hair and being in my hometown and stuff. And that was kind of like, I guess, really where I learned to play guitar too, because it was like, I was 22 or 23 in the barbershop, and being a new guy, you're not very busy cutting hair. Nobody trusts you yet, hardly, And so I'm like, I'd always sing, and that's kind of around the time that I picked up a guitar, started playing. Me and a few guys locally just started a band, and that was kind of around my early 20s is kind of when, it really hit me to like, man, I think I really want to make a run for this. So.
Have you seen those TikToks of the singing barber? Do you ever think?
So I met him the other day.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah. So he done I met him in Midtown in Nashville, and he came up to me and he said, he's like, hey man, like one of his first viral videos on there, he said, was Life with You.
Really?
He said he was singing it to, I guess, in his barber chair, how he does that.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, do you know I'm a barber?
Did he know?
And he didn't know. And so I'm like, we've got to do this like together at some point.
Are you going to get to do one?
Oh yeah, we're going to do it.
Oh,
we've been talking about it.
Can I say that it's kind of weird that you're a haircutting guy and you wear a ball cap?
Dude, so I fix my hair every day for 10 years. Had to.
Yeah,
the old barber I worked with, me and a guy I worked with, we'd try to wear hats on Saturday, and he'd say, would you want somebody cutting your hair if you couldn't see what their hair looked like?
Yeah, right.
And so he wouldn't let us wear hats. So now it's just like, I'm just
making up for lost time with the ball cap. I get it. Do you still cut hair at all?
I cut all the band guys.
I bet. Yeah.
I cut all their hair, and then when I go back home, I've got several buddies that I cut their hair for years, and they're like they won't let anybody else cut it. So I'm like, it's fewer and further between when I can get home, though. Right. So each time now, it's just like they're getting longer.
Yeah, they're going to have ponytails in between here pretty soon, huh?
Yeah.
Talk to me about some of your influences. I've heard people compare you a little bit to Blake Shelton. You can hear some Blake in that first song that you did there. Who else did you grow up listening to?
Man, growing up, it's funny because, you hear people say like, oh, I, was in the truck with my dad listening to Keith Whitley and Garth Brooks and George Strait and all these guys. And like my parents never had music on. It was like,
that's crazy.
It was just like I remember my mom, like growing up, like we'd be in the car and she'd just be like, "Oh, turn that down, I want to talk." So it was like they wasn't big like country music fans, but my dad was a gospel singer, and he sang a lot at church. So for me, he had one gospel CD in his truck, and the group was called Gold City, and it just like I swear I feel like my whole childhood, it was like the one CD in his truck. And so we just like, I sang a lot of gospel music growing up. And so that was like my earliest influences. And then getting up into high school is kind of when I started picking more up on listening to country myself and listening to, I loved a lot of, the Brooks and Dunn stuff. Yeah. That was some of the first stuff that I, really got into. And then, then like Blake, I guess was, probably a little bit later on kind of was my guy that I, definitely, looked up to and, thought he was, cool and doing the thing. So
what's in the CD player today?
Today? In my dad's?
Yeah. No, not in your dad's. We know what's in your dad's truck. Yeah. I doubt he's changed it now, right?
Yeah, no.
No, what's in yours?
That
what are you
CD
listening
is
to?
Probably still in that CD player somewhere.
You have to go find it.
Yeah.
What are you listening to?
Man, I listen to a lot of my buddies that are writers that aren't even trying to do the artist thing. Yeah. That, some of them, that people don't know that are just so good that, it's not the mainstream stuff that I love. I listen to demos all the time, just of my buddies that are sending me stuff that they're working on that I, and then in the mainstream stuff too. Who am I listening to right now? I've always been a fan of Jake Owen too. I think he's always cut great songs.
Same. I always felt like he was one of the most underrated artists ever. Like, how did that guy not become a superstar?
Yeah, man.
He got close for a minute.
Yeah, I think he's right there, and he's done great. But I think he, song-wise, I've always thought he cut great songs.
Agreed. Well, let's play some more songs. What do you say?
Yeah, definitely.